Hello everybody, Steven here with Cardboard Coalition, and today I figured I would bring you a review of Comic Hunters. Now this game is from Bucaneiros. Originally, I think they're a Brazilian game company, right? But it was brought to the States with through Arcane Wonders and Spin Master Games. So Bucaneiros, Arcane Wonder, and Spin Master Games. It's a 1 to 4 player game. It takes 60 minutes to play, and it's ages 14 plus. I believe it says it right. Oh, right here. I think in the how did it play, I said over here. It's right here. All right. All right. So I have my handy dandy notes. Let's go ahead and jump into this. Now, the theme of the game is comic book collecting, right? You're literally collecting up your comic books, right? And there's icons to get your points and stuff, but you're collecting up your comic books. So it's comic collecting. The mechanism of the game, and there's a handful of them. There's open and closed drafting. Well, I guess it starts with closed, right? And if you want to understand the mechanics a little bit more, you can watch the how to play video we did right before this, and you can see the different mechanics, why there's so many different mechanics. But closed, open drafting, both those. Auctioning, hand management, you have to decide what hand you have in your card and stuff like that. And you also have set collection, right? Because to make points, you're making a set. Like I said, you can see in the how to play, but I have a Doctor Strange set right there, right? So those are your mechanics. And it's because you do the different phases. In different phases, you have a different, they call it a mini game in the booklet, but you have a different phase to play. All right, ease of teaching, ease of play. So this is an interesting one for me. Once you know how to play, it's easy to teach someone how to play. Now, with that said, and I think it's just because it's a translation over. I think they just translate it over. There's some work to understanding what they're saying. There's information that is assumed you know. You might have to go back and look, figure out what piece is what and what exactly moves where because they're saying what. That just has to do with editing the rule book, right? Once you get the rule book down, then you are ready to go. It's fairly easy to teach people. You say, okay, we're drafting cards, this is how you do it. And a lot of these mechanics are things that you play in other games. So if you put the open draft and you say, okay, this is what we're doing, you do it. You put the bidding out, you explain to everyone what you're doing, and they just do it. All right, so it goes anywhere from easy to medium, right? It was a little frustrating getting through it, but I'm glad I did, right? Replayability. I would say the replayability is pretty good. You have lots of different stacks of cards. You can have different highlights, right? You can have different hero track or heroes in different places on the tracker and different heroes. Right now we have the 3 highlights at the bottom. You have 2 more that you can choose from. We have the 6 superheroes on the superhero track. I don't know, I'm pointing with the box. And then we have 2 other superheroes that we can add to that. So that does lead to a good playability for this game. Or replayability, as it were. Is it fun to play? Yes. All right, production. This is where it kind of gets wah, wah, wah. Okay. Okay at best. The best thing about these, this production, would probably be the cards, the nice thick card, and then I sleeved them. Not that I necessarily had to, but these are penny sleeves. I realized they fit really nice, and then it gives you the feel, at least for me, that you're actually collecting the comic books, right? And they're in bags and boards. So I sleeved them, but the cards are really nice quality. The player board, nice. The box, okay, it's okay, but the tokens are really thin. They could have used a thicker cardboard, probably would have bumped the price up, what have you. They could have done better there. The art on everything is pretty cool because the art on these cards, it's the art from the actual comic books, right? It's the art on the card is the art of the comic books. You get great art there and iconic art here. The player board, it's nice. The art's fun. There's not much on there, but it's a good art. Now the cover, I was going to grab the rule book, but the box has the same thing. The art on the box, not my favorite. I tend not to say an artist is bad, just not art that I like. I particularly don't like this art. I do like the setup of the box because it's set up like a comic book, right? So production, I put okay for production, and part of it is really these tokens. Even when I was getting it out to do the review, when I got it out to do the how to play, it reminded me, anytime I get out to place, these tokens are so thin. It's just kind of like, come on. This is one, if I ever blinged on my own, I would definitely look into blinging, but production is okay. Now, cost versus value. All right, cost versus value. So this is an interesting thing. You go to get this on eBay, you're gonna pay like 60 bucks, and it comes with, I can't remember if it was, I didn't get the cards, and I bought this as soon as it came out. They didn't even know where it was at. They had to look for almost an hour to find the box that had these in them. So I don't think it is a promo when it first came out. I think it was convention exclusive. And there's like 4 cards. They're holographic cards. And from what I can tell, they're the cards that are already in the game. It's just a holographic version. That's what you're buying on eBay for the 60 bucks. So we're going to go with a $24.99 right here. And I will just preface that with, I looked it up, and Barnes & Noble is saying it's $35.99, but the sticker says $24.99. So there's that. The other thing to keep in mind, so the $60 one, the eBay $60 one, you're getting the extra cards, the exclusives, the con exclusives. The other thing is, besides eBay, the only place I really saw sell it in secondhand stores that bought it from eBay or things like that, but mostly eBay. The other place is Barnes & Noble, right? And I believe when this came out, it was set up to be a game for Barnes & Noble. And that might be why they made it with the components, with cheaper components to make it cheaper to sell it at Barnes & Noble. All right, so we're going back to the $24.99. So $24.99 MSRP. I put okay to good, and this is why. If you don't play, if you're not into comic books, this might not be the game for you, right? But it's still fun. The different drafting and stuff like that's fun. It's not bad mechanics. It's just probably wouldn't be the top of your list. But if you're into comic books, this might be up there with one of my favorite comic book games. And we have Marvel Zombies, DC, Deceased is coming, Dice Throne Marvel. We have the Unmatched Marvel. We have Marvel Champions. We have DC Deck Building, Love Letter Marvel. I'm like glancing around. We have a handful. What is that one? Remix Marvel, Splendor Marvel. We have a whole bunch of comic book themed games, and they're fun, and I like them all because they're comic book themed. But this one's literally collecting comic books. It's collecting the comic books up. And what I found with my friends, what we end up doing is we'll do things like, I know that this Spider-Man, like in one of the auctions or something, this Spider-Man might help me out a lot and make a whole bunch of points. But what I really want, see if I can find a cool one here. What we ended up doing is what we'd say is, what I really want, well, these are a bunch of Spider-Mans here. What we'll do is things like, what I really want though is a Hulk collection. And these have some Hulks in them. So I'm getting these Hulk cards. Even though Spider-Man might get me more points at the end, I want Hulk. And I found that every time we play this, people really get into the collection. And myself, it becomes a giddy, hard decision. All giddy about it, and it's a hard decision because you're like, these are points, and this cover is cool, but this is Hulk, and I want Hulk. Or this cover is iconic, and it's a super cool cover. I wish I had it in my collection, so I would like to own it in this little collection I'm building in the game. So if you're into comic books, and maybe if you're into like Marvel movies and DC movies and stuff, but if you're into the comic book medium, you're into going to the comic shop, picking up comics, maybe you can't physically do it, but you want to, right? Or maybe financially you can't, so you do digital or something like that. Or you pirate, bad people. Whatever you do, but you're actually into the comic books and opening them up and reading them. You've seen a lot of these covers, right? These are iconic ones, number ones and stuff like that. You've seen these covers. You've wanted to buy them before, you didn't, but you know what they are. And it really gets you excited about playing this game. So if you're someone who's into comic books, like going to your comic shop, getting your weekly, monthly, even if it's trades, picking up comics and reading them, I think that you'll really enjoy this game more than the average person who just picks up a game to play. Do I think it's worth it? I have the okay to good. If you're really not into comic books and it's just the mechanics, it's an okay game for the value that you're paying, the 25 bucks. If you're into comics, it's almost a steal for 25 bucks. Even with the subpar with some of the production stuff, you're still like, no, this is so much fun. You have so much fun. Now, closing it up, I know we recently did a review, but we're getting back into the reviews. Baby and prep up to baby kind of took a lot of time, and it was easier to do unboxings, but no one cares about that. But back into the reviews. So I like to do would I play it again, would I ask to play it, right? And the reason I do that is because there are games that you find okay, and if someone's like, hey, you want to play this game? You're like, all right. And then there's the games where you're like, hey, let's play this game, all right? Would I play it again? Yes, I would play it again. Would I ask people to play it? Yes, I would ask people to play this if I know they're into comic books. So when I first got this, I was super excited. I remember it, I think it was the Dice Tower. I can't remember the guy's name, Garcia, I can't think of his first name. He was talking about the game in one of their countdowns, and it was only a Brazilian game, and they're fancy schmancy, right? They're big names in the gaming industry. They move around, they get games from all different places and stuff. And it was a Brazilian game, and I believe he might speak Spanish, so it's easy for him to translate, or he had it translated. There's not much to translate, just how to play it, right? You can probably watch a video for that. But I really wanted this game, really wanted it, and it bummed me out because I didn't want to pay a ton of money. Once I heard that it was coming out, like I said, the day that it was supposed to drop at Barnes & Noble, I showed up. And it took them, no joke, no hyperbole, about an hour to get the game because they didn't know where it was at. They were good at it. I'm not knocking Barnes & Noble because the two ladies that helped me were like dedicated in finding this game. We walked over the shelves and looked. They checked the computer. They knew they had it. Walked over the shelves. One lady goes in the back. She's gone for 30 minutes. She's looking. She comes back out. And she's like, oh, I can't find it in the back. And she doesn't come to me. She goes to the other lady. The lady goes, okay, let me take a run at it. And she goes in the back and looks around. And I think she gets it, or they ask one of the managers and they find it. It was in a box and it just wasn't on the shelf where it needed to be opened up and put out. That's how quick I wanted to go get this game, right? And then I was super excited to get back and play it with my friends that collect comic books. Now I have another friend that collects comic books, and I want to sit down and get a play in with him because I think he will get a huge enjoyment out of this too. So overall, it's a good game. It's an okay game. It's a good game if you're into the theme. I guess that's the overall takeaway. Okay game, but good game if you're into the theme. I hope you like this review of Comic Book Hunters from Bucanero, Arcane Wonders, and Spin Master Games. It's for 1 to 4 players. It's for ages 14 plus, and it takes 60 minutes. I'm Steven with Cardboard Coalition. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.